Hi, this is Keith with How to Build Your Own Home, and we are talking about floor trusses, engineered floor trusses. Before we get there, make sure you go to howtobuildyourownhome.com. I've got a great course. It's got everything you need, budgets, draw sheets, checklists, tons of videos, everything you need to be an owner builder. Lines you out, gives you a system, gives you a structure so you don't have to feel like you're in the dark. Check it out, howtobuildyourownhome.com. Right now we're talking about floor trusses. I haven't talked about these in quite some time. I love them. I love engineered floor trusses. This is an engineered floor truss, all right? And that means that they actually build the floor truss for you, creating open gaps whereby you can move and fit your heating and your air, all your mechanical through that. I'm not a fan of TGIs. TGI is basically an oriented strand board with some lumber on top, lumber on the bottom, glued together, and it kind of works. It's got about it has some limitations, and the biggest one is that you can't fit in information through here, specifically your mechanical. Your heating and air people will love this. Right here in this little triangle section, I can fit an 8-inch duct tube right through there, and then I've got some larger section here for some larger duct that I may need to fit through various parts of the home. So I'm going to give you some before and after. This is where the framers are starting to install these. In about a week and a half, I'll come up and show you how we were able to, I'm crossing my fingers, to fit all the heating and air, all the plumbing and everything inside this structure. One of the things I like about this is I've got 3.5 inches on the 2x4 on the top to fit and glue my subfloor on the top versus what, 1.5 inches or 1.75 inches on the top of a TGI. So that's the real plus, is you've got more space, more stability, more glue hitting the bottom of that subfloor. Your framers are going to love you for it, and they're much more easier but really easier to work with because you've got so much surface area to glue that subfloor to it. So let's check it out. This is the before. We're going to come back and we're going to see how everything fits. See you then. Okay, we're now in the middle stage here where it's like 98% framed, just about done. And I want to explain why I installed these trusses and purchased what are called engineered floor trusses, basically out of 2x4s. And there's a lot of pluses for it, but I've got an issue upstairs which really called for it. But right now you can see that I've got all this open web access for running all my duct systems. When we come back with this final post, we're going to see how it all fits. But the thing I want to keep in mind is that when it comes to heating and air engineering, you really do that ad hoc and you do it on site almost from your hip. But if you know about the space they need to fit through things, you can really plan ahead. If I used regular I-joists or TGIs like I have out there, I could not have fit the heating and air inside that floor system. I'm trying to get all the heating below and all the heating on the second floor inside the same floor system. And let's go upstairs. I'm going to show you why I'm going to try to do that. Okay, we're upstairs, not quite finished on the framing up here, a couple more partition frames. But as you see, I've got some regular I-beams, I-joists here being used for my roof trusses. And I really can't drill through all that to put heating and push it down below. And the benefit of having in a colder climate is to have your heat come from below and push up. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get all the heating and air for both floors inside the middle floor, right below where I'm standing, because I can't run it through here. And I've seen ventilation ducts literally get pushed right through that I-beam, and it weakens that whole I-beam. I've seen that a lot. I don't want to do that. Plus, I don't want to penetrate the ceiling with all those vents. Again, a weak situation. I've only got this much depth to pack a lot of insulation in, so I don't want to have any voids and gaps and empty spots inside that ceiling. I really want to real seal as much as I possibly can. The only penetrations we're going to have in this ceiling are for lights, flush mount LED lights, and when we get it all done, I'll show you that. But when we come back with this final post, I'm going to show you how well it all fits together. Again, we can't see exactly it's going to work just right because of the size of the ducts. I'm not an MEP engineer, but I've been through this enough that I can plan for getting the best case scenario, and that's what we're hoping for. Let's go to the next post when it's all installed. Okay, we are now done with all the mechanical, all the electrical, all the plumbing, and all the heating and air is now put inside the home. We're going to walk you through that and why I use engineered truss floors, which is what you see up here. I was easily able to fit all the electrical, all the plumbing, and all the ductwork inside that truss system. Now, typically, if you did not have that, you couldn't drill holes through regular TGI joists, which has got that OSB wall structure in there, so you can't really cut a 6-inch or an 8-inch hole in there. You lose the integrity of the floor. I've seen it done a lot of times, but you shouldn't be doing that, and a lot of inspectors won't allow for that. So we've got all our heating in there installed. Now, I want to walk you through the area we drop. Now, typically when you have some ventilation, forced air in your home, the return air or some of the line sets are going to require that ceiling to drop. How many times have you been through a home and you walk down the hallway and that hallway's dropped down to an 8-foot ceiling? And as a result, you don't have that much open air, and it affects the architectural design and the feel of the home. We were only able to, we focused our drop down inside the laundry area. So we've got a laundry room here. And if you look at all of the mechanical inside here, we dropped the ceiling just a foot so we can fit all that into the mechanical room, which is upstairs, which we'll show you in just a second. The thing that you want to keep in mind is that if you're going to drop your ceiling somewhere, can that be below where the mechanical room is? As a result, you now focus your drop down in an area that's not going to affect the architectural open feel of the home. Let's go upstairs and I'll show you the mechanical room that is just above where we have what you call a squirrel box, where all the ventilation is squirreling right into a return air or into the forced air right above here. So let's go upstairs and I'll show you the mechanical room. Okay, we're now upstairs in the mechanical room, and I always like to put my mechanical room, my heat exchanger, my return air, all my ductwork with inside condition space. Now, condition space I've mentioned a couple of times. It is basically within the insulated envelope of the home. Anytime you can get all of that inside the envelope of the home, the better off you are. And I'll explain here a couple of things. This here mechanical room is directly above where that laundry room was down below. So I've got my air that's being forced, and my return air is up here, but my air being forced down into the below living space is right here. It comes into that squirrel box where we dropped the ceiling down, and as a result, we kept the integrity of the design of the home. This is what you really want to look for in the design of home. If you're going upstairs and downstairs, if you can have your mechanical room and a laundry room really above each other, that's really powerful, because it's not going to be a problem to drop the ceiling in that laundry room. Nobody's going to complain about that. It gives you all that room, all that flexibility to move your ductwork and take it where it needs to go. And then if you have your structural floor trusses that are 2x4 floor trusses, so you have all that webbing to move all that ductwork, now you're not going to lose the integrity of the structure of the home if you have TGI floor trusses or anything else. Some things to think about. I'm really pleased how this came out. It's exactly what I wanted. I get better and better at designing homes so that they're functional, they're ease of use, there's better cost savings on utilities. This will be a great feature for the clients, because they'll have a little storage area. I mean, that heat exchanger is going to be right here. I'll still have some room for some storage for a vacuum and broom and stuff like that. We'll have our water softener over here. We got low voltage right here, and down below in the mechanical room, not the mechanical room, but the laundry room down below, we've got the electrical panel inside there. These are two rooms that if you can work it out just right, they can actually help each other. Something to think about when you're actually designing your home. This is a good example of why you need engineered floor trusses and designing your home in such a way so that everything helps pollinate each other. This room helps the room below. The laundry room down below allows for this room and all the mechanical to be expanded down below that. Think about that. Some great tips I have here with how to build your own home.